makes a Stockli a Stockli. It's a lot of pride, and it's part of what, Swiss quality and Swiss craftsmanship is all about. It takes 12 days to make a pair of our skis. Most brands can make a pair in a couple hours. They have engineers in each area that monitor quality control all the way through the process. All the skis are wood core. All the skis use 90-degree traditional sidewalls. And all the skis use 2 sheets of team, top and bottom. We have a really unique way of applying the glue. We also apply a rubber polyurethane dust that goes onto all the parts before a ski is actually put in the mold. And then they're put into the presses, which are part of what makes a ski special. They're really adjustable, so that we can adjust the amount of camber that each ski gets. And we can adjust the press by each model of ski that we're doing. After it goes through all these processes, it's ready to be finished or prepared to be able to work on snow. You have to put any ski through a series of belts and grinders so that the edges become sharp, the bases become flat. And so we have several different machines that we've invested millions of dollars in over the past 4 to 5 years. The goal there is to create the highest quality tune so that the customer's first turn is perfect.
Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from Skiessentials.com.
I'm Bob. How's it going?
Hope you enjoyed that intro. I really liked that. Stockli put that video together to show off their 2021-2022 skis, and I feel like every time we talk about a Stockli or a Kessli, we spend a lot of time talking about why they're as expensive as they are.
Yeah.
Like this ski is $1,249, and I thought that intro did a really good job communicating what's different about their skis. The production method is impressive.
Whenever you see machines like that, it's impressive. And also the fact that they don't make as many, it's not as mass produced as a product as some of these other ones. You kind of realize that, well, that money is really going towards making these special.
Yeah, exactly.
And it works.
I love the statistic of 12 days to make a Stockli.
Right.
And then that's George Cooperthwaite in that intro, and then he's like, other manufacturers can make a pair in a couple hours.
Right.
Which is also really cool, and I've seen that happen in other ski factories of start to finish, here's a ski. So that's pretty cool on either end of the spectrum. But yeah, 12 days to make a Stockli. And here it is. So this is the new Stormrider 102. I feel like anytime we get a chance to test a Stockli or talk about a Stockli, it feels like a little special.
Yep.
Their skis just definitely have a special feel to them when you get them on snow. Before we get into performance, let's just talk about the ski, where it sits in Stockli's line. So over by you, Bob, you have the Stormrider 105 from this season. That ski is going away. They still have the 88 and the 95, which got some subtle changes, but not significant changes. And then now we got a Stormrider 102. So this is the widest ski that Stockli makes, which I think is interesting.
Yep.
That's quite a bit narrower than most manufacturers' widest ski. But it also feels right for Stockli.
Yeah.
The company is kind of more focused on precision and stuff like that. So having 102 be your widest ski is I like it. It's kind of like boldly saying no, this is who we are.
Right. The bulk of their skis are definitely in the, right above the race width to, low 80s. It seems like that's where most of their skis are.
Exactly. So pretty cool. What's interesting about it is although it's narrower than the Stormrider 105, it actually uses more rocker. So they've extended the length of the tip rocker by quite a bit. So when you decamber it, basically starts right where my hand is, which lengthwise is a lot of rocker.
Yeah.
And they have increased the splay as well.
Yeah, this distance.
Yep. But I think it's important to also communicate that from here to here, it's still relatively low rise rocker.
Yeah.
Like if we were to compare it next to like a K2 Reckoner 102 or something like that, like there are a lot of skis out there with more substantial rocker lines or more splay. And then they also changed the tail as well. So it's pretty interesting. Like I again, it's like coming back to just Stockli as a manufacturer, as a brand in general, and how they build skis. They describe this as like a lot more rise in the tail.
That's a turned up tail.
It's nothing there. But if you want to show the tail of the 105, it is more than they've had in the past. But again, like I was saying about the tip rocker, in the grand scheme of things, in the world of skis, it's still less than most, and you still also get pretty flat, squared off tail back there. So they did increase the amount of rocker in this ski, but not, they're not so much that it's turning into like a DPS shape or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So still very much a Stockli shape. And then construction of these skis, Stockli's really, that's really where like their expertise in building skis comes through, is the way they build them. Yeah. So a lighter wood core than some of their skis, and then we get 2 sheets of Titanal in the ski as well. And you saw in that intro, they used that like polyurethane rubber dust and stuff. Like there's some cool stuff going on in these skis. Always worth noting that one of the sheets of metal is the top sheet.
Yep.
So they're able to kind of shed a little bit of weight. And we've also talked about how when your energy as a skier is getting transmitted directly into metal, it changes the way that the ski reacts, as opposed to, into a top sheet material and then something else and then a sheet of metal in there.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go through as much. That transfer of energy on a ski like this or that is a lot more direct. So every movement you put into it goes through the binding and into the ski, into the edge a lot quicker.
Exactly. Yeah. Forgot to mention, this is a 19.8 turn radius in this 182 centimeter length, which is the length that I tested, and I'm pretty sure the length that you tested as well. There is a longer length and a shorter length too, so there's a 173 and a 191. Bob, I'd venture a guess that you'd be better off on the 191.
I would definitely like to try it, but I just generally will have a mental block over skiing a low 180 in a more free ride oriented ski.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably choose that 191 for sure.
So let's talk about performance, because that's kind of the fun stuff. 102 foot, 2 sheets of metal, a little bit of rocker, not a ton of rocker. What do you think, Bob?
It's definitely going to pop up out of the snow more.
Yeah, this rocker.
That rocker and that splay is really going to make it bounce out of the snow a little bit more. I feel like this one was a little bit more smeary, based on that tip shape. I think the tail performance is pretty negligible. You know, like it's not a huge difference, as we were kind of joking about their use of turned up tail.
Yeah.
It's not playful compared to other 102s or around there.
Right.
But, certainly you're going to get a little bit more energy, kind of more up and down feeling versus this, which is a little bit more side to side. So in the softer snow, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think they still rip.
Right.
Like I think the highlight of these skis is not their tail release. It's not how they pivot or smear. It's how they will charge through anything, and I feel like they do it in a pretty unique way, a very Stockli way. Like the flex pattern of these skis isn't crazy stiff,
right?
But they have such a smooth, damp feel, and it really absorbs vibrations or really absorbs variations in the snow surface really well, and results in a very smooth ride. Like I always think about it along the lines of something like a Mantra 102.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more tip rocker than tail rocker. You know, more of a flatter tail shape.
Yeah.
So kind of like, it's not really like a free ride ski, or it is, but it's a free ride ski with like some on trail personality.
Yeah.
Super fun, just getting them over really high edge angles, and for a 102, they might be the best carving ski in that category.
Yeah, and one of the other fun things we talk about with these is the range. So, you know, watching you flex that ski, it's like, wow, that 2 sheets of metal ski really flexes.
Right.
And that allows you to create those edge angles, and it also allows you to ski at slower speeds.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be going 40 miles an hour to
Right.
ski on this, whereas that Mantra 102 does kind of come into its own at those higher speeds.
Yeah.
I would rather, you know, kind of lollygag it on those versus a Mantra 102. And that's part of the reason why that they're so appealing and why they're so versatile, is that they have this huge range of, you know, speed and ability that is, you know, more conducive for a broad range of skiers. And we say that a lot with, you know, the other Storm Riders as well. Is like, wow, these are, yeah, like, you know, the high end is here, the low end is here, you know, whereas other skis kind of have that smaller range.
Yeah.
And that's just a testament to how they build their skis, and it's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah. No, just a fantastic ski, and I think that's a really important point to bring up, is that they're not too demanding.
Right.
Is that they're pretty darn easy to ski, and they're almost like, I think for an advanced expert level skier, they're very intuitive, because you can get them to flex so much into a turn. You know, I guess there are probably skiers out there that would want a stiffer ski, but kind of like we had a similar conversation with the Serpo, like there are skiers that will push that past its limits. There aren't many people that are going to push this past its limits. I think there are way more people, including those aggressive, advanced, expert level skiers, that would appreciate the slightly more willingness in its flex pattern, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know you didn't like really get a chance to ski like challenging hard bumps on them, but what do you think about it in that application, and like bumps, trees, that kind of stuff?
Again, that flex just makes it really approachable
Yeah.
in, you know, where you have to make a shorter turn. You know, it's not going to punish you. You know, I feel bad about driving the tip of a $1,200 ski into the front of a mogul really aggressively, but you know, that's what they're built for. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, not too stiff up there.
So, you know, go right ahead. Like, confidence is high when you're on a ski like this, in the bumps and the trees. And, you know, they're pretty light. You know, they do use that lighter wood core. So even though they got the 2 sheets of metal in them, they do have that lighter wood core. Does make them pretty quick. So you can get them around, you know, really easily when you have to or when you want to. So it's just a nice mix of, you know, the ski doing what you want it to do and more.
Right.
And less. You know, it's just, again, that range is just really impressive.
Right. And I think, like, you know, we mentioned that there are a lot of skis with more tail rocker, you know, when we showed the tail of the ski. Like, there's not much back there. So I feel like it's not too demanding. It's pretty easy to ski, but if you're going to ski it, like, you know, Stockli is kind of pushing it or positioning it as like their soft snow ski, their powder ski, stuff like that. I feel like a Western-based skier on a powder day, like you could ski this at pretty much any ability level.
Yeah.
Maybe not like a true beginner. I do think like on the East Coast, if you're using it as a powder day ski, it's gonna be best for somebody with like more traditional technique or more traditional skiing style, somebody that's unweighting tail of the ski, you know, like really focusing their energy and skiing this portion of the ski rather than just sitting back and like letting it smear around. But it's not too challenging if you need to smear it around. So, you know, we've mentioned the Mantra 102 and how that ski can feel kind of punishing and kind of demanding when you get into a situation like that.
Yeah.
I still think this ski is best for somebody like that with that more traditional skiing and good technique, but it's not as punishing.
Right.
If you like make a mistake or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of more like an Enforcer 100 versus a 104.
Yeah, I think the Enforcer 100 is a really good comparison.
Yeah, I mean that's heavier than this, and does have that narrower range where that less skilled skier, either advanced or upper end intermediate, will have more in common with this ski than an Enforcer 100.
Yeah, but in the sense that I think it's a good comparison in the sense that they both carve really well.
Yeah. And
they're both versatile, but they're both they're not ridiculously easy to ski.
Right.
Like a Reckoner 102 is easier to ski. It doesn't come close to the carving performance of these, but it's easier to ski for like a young lightweight intermediate or something. But there aren't many young lightweight intermediates that are spending $1,250 on a pair of skis.
Right, but if they want to, they're more than welcome to.
It's true.
And they're going to have it. Then they're either going to grow into it or enjoy it as it is. So it's it's more about your bank account than than your skill set. As they do have that lower end.
Yeah, and I suppose that's a good transition to the conversation that we've had multiple times before about the price of these skis. Take an Enforcer 100. They're not twice as much as the Enforcer 100, but let's just say that they are for the purposes of this example. Is this twice as good as an Enforcer 100 objectively?
Yeah.
I think the answer is no, but subjectively, based on your financial position, is it better? Yes.
Right.
So is it worth the extra $400, $500? To some people, yes. If $400 or $500 isn't much to you, this is better.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that. I think the skiing experience on a Stockli is objectively better than less expensive brands.
Yeah.
So it just comes down to each individual consumer whether it's worth it or not. It's like an Audi versus a Volkswagen.
Right. It's a luxury.
There are
version,
objective differences between those brands, and it's not to say that one is bad, but one has some things about it that are better than the other. So I think that's an important conversation to have about Stockli as a brand and this ski in particular. Anything you want to end with, Bob?
Just, kind of to piggyback off that, if you've never skied a Stockli and have the opportunity to, and if you've watched our videos on them and you're interested or curious, definitely, put forth a little bit of extra effort to find a demo, to find some way to get on a pair of these, because it is pretty impressive, what you can tell. You can tell the difference.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of skis in that Enforcer 100 range, in that $700 range or so, that you can be like, wow, that one is, considerably more precise and damp and stable than this other one. But when you get on these, there is something about them that definitely has that upscale and, very just luxurious feel on the snow.
Yeah.
And they're a blast to ski on.
Yeah. Just those, that one run down gondolier on these things this winter was some of my favorite turns of the entire season. Always really happy to ski a Stockli. Super fun. We had a day on laser AR and laser AXs and just had a blast on those.
Yep.
It's getting pretty wild at Stowe. You might see more laser ARs than any other ski, period.
Yeah.
Maybe more laser ARs than Montrose, which is saying something. More laser ARs than Enforcers.
And if you want two pairs, that would be a great two ski quiver right there for
laser ARs,
for East and West Coast.
Stormrider 102.
Yep, you're set.
Call it good. Yeah, sweet. So that's it. That's Stormrider 102 from Stockli. Great ski. We will probably talk about a couple other of their skis over the summer. If you made it this far, leave a comment and let us know whether you'd prefer us talking about the laser AR or the laser AX. And we'll try and do that one next. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys out there on the slopes.
Bye.